My name is Lorraine Cooper, and I wrote this book, Mental Maths 5 a Day, specifically for parents. It is a daily exercise book for you to work 5 minutes a day with your child every day, so that they become very fast at those basic building blocks of arithmetic. And those building blocks are number bonds and times tables. Let's have a look first at the importance of number bonds to your child's development in arithmetic. If you have a look at this number sentence here, you will see as an adult that you do that very, very quickly because there are numbers there that lock together. You're so familiar with them, they lock together to make 10. For example, the 7 and the 3. You'll have looked at those two numbers and presumably have reached 50 very quickly. Likewise, you'll have looked at the 8 and the 2, locked those together to make 10, allowed for the zeros to give you 100. So 50 and 100, 150, but that would have happened in your brain at a very, very high speed. We call these number bonds, the number bonds up to 10. So numbers like 9 and 1 making 10, but also the numbers below 10, so 3 and 2, we know they make 5, and we're very quick to recognize that. 2 and 8 to make 10, 5 and 3 to make 8. The doubles, 5 and 5, 4 and 4, and so on. But also subtraction, that if 4 add 4 equals 8, 8 subtract 4 is 4. And so the child should also be quite fast at their subtractions too. By the age of 6, your child should have memorized and be very quick at those number bonds to 10. Once that is in place, the next stage of their development is very, very quick. So if they know that 5 and 3 equals 8, it's very easy for them to go make the next leap to 50 plus 30, which is 80, and 500 plus 300 to equal 800. The number bonds should be secure by 6 years old. From that time onwards, your child will be learning their times tables. This is a longer process, but it is very important that by the time your child is, for example, 10 years old, that they're able to do a sum that is that complex. In this particular sum, there are 14 different operations. You've got 8 multiplications and some additions in order to reach that total. If your child is slow at processing 8 times 2 equals 16, it will slow the whole process down, more likely to make mistakes. But if those times tables are very fast, that can be worked through very quickly. The number bonds to do the additions and an answer in between 1 and 2 minutes. We are asking, therefore, for 5 minutes a day, every single day, to work through this book. It is designed to be as easy to use as reading with your child, which you do every day. The other advantage of this book is that you're able to judge very quickly how your child is doing relative to their age, and that is because there is a unique color code used throughout the book. There are 3 colors, the blue, the red, and the green exercises. The blue exercises are designed to match the curriculum for the autumn term. And so you will work through the blue exercises in the autumn term, but also for the rest of the year. In January, in the second term, you will start to use the red exercises, continuing with the blue. After the Easter term, in the summer term, you will work on the green exercises. You will also work on the red and the blue, so there's plenty of work to carry your child throughout the year. For the next term, in the new year, come September, you will start to work on the blue, but I would go to the green of the year before to make sure that your child's comfortable operating in the previous year's work before you move on to the blue exercises for the new year that they have started. Although it is a very slim book, it has an infinite number of exercises. And the way you would use those is, for example, here is an exercise for year 1 child. When you first start this exercise 8, which would be after January because it's red, you might start at the top and take your child through each one of those exercises and then maybe do 1 or 2 other things to fill up your 5 minutes. The next day you might start at the bottom and go backwards. Your child won't have memorized those, so it's effectively a brand new exercise. The following day or a couple of days later, you might come back to this, start in the middle, or you might decide to look at those randomly. I would suggest putting little pencil marks next to each example that your child is finding difficult so that you can come back to those and your child can become more and more familiar as you keep repeating that particular sum that has given them difficulty. Every year you do not need to buy a new book because all your child's work for 7 years of their education is contained in this book, from the age of 5 to the age of 11. On your first day of working with your child, I would suggest that this will take longer than 5 minutes because you want to find the part of the book where your child is most comfortable, and that means they're answering questions in less than 5 seconds. I would mark the place in that book with either a pencil note or a post-it note so that you have a benchmark you can come back to measure your child's progress after a few months. And that can be very motivating for your child to see how quickly they are moving on. Here are some final pointers before you start to use Mental Maths 5 a day. You'll need to go back to last year's work, possibly even earlier. Don't be too concerned about that. If your child, for example, has special educational needs, you will have to adapt the book completely for them, so that you may need to start much earlier than the year that they're in, and you may need to work much more slowly through the book to keep up with the pace at which they are able to learn. Your child might be better at working with addition and subtraction than they are working with multiplication or division. So if, for example, your child's in year 4, you might want to use the year 3 work for multiplication and division and their current year group work for addition and subtraction. You will soon get used to that, and you will be able to page backwards and forth through the book to find that place where your child is working most comfortably. You are aiming to achieve answers in under 3 seconds, 2 seconds ideally, as your child gets much older by year 5 or 6, that they're answering the easy number bonds and times tables questions in about 1 to 2 seconds. We teach children very early on to use their fingers to calculate, but by the time a child is 8 or 9, the number bonds should be so secure and so automatic, as should the times tables be, that they should no longer need to use their fingers for calculations, although they may continue to do that for a few more years afterwards. Parents who use Mental Maths 5 a day regularly with their child are finding there is a significant difference in how quickly their child is able to calculate. Here are some parents' comments.